Good evening. Good evening. Give me a moment to like and share myself. Okay, here we go. Okay. So good evening. I hope everyone is surviving and that nothing, none of your family, friends, property, or anything has been harmed in the happenings in the last 72 or whatever days it was. So I posted a post on Facebook. I mean, I don't think I do that many long posts, but I did a long post. And I posted because I needed to say something. So here's my video to say something. It was a week ago today that a police officer took it upon himself to take somebody out of this world that he didn't bring in. Now, if you grew up the way we grew up, you know that the only person that has the authority to take someone out of this world is the person that brought them in it. So let's start with that. So between Jesus and his mama, them the only two that had the authority. He put his knee on the neck of this man for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Now, I refuse to watch the video because I don't know why I need to see it. Why I need to see it. I don't need to see it. So I saw pictures. That was plenty enough. And that told a whole lot. Those pictures told that was completely wrong. That told that he didn't care because he had his hand in his pocket like it was just another day. I don't know. I've never, thank you, Jesus, killed anyone. Thank you, Jesus. I will never kill anyone. But it seems to me if I had to kill somebody because of something, there was a reason behind it. They were endangering me, my children, my family. Then I promise you, I think I would not be happy about it. I wouldn't be content about it. I would be, shaken. No, he was cool as a cucumber, which scares me to death, which is all the more reason that man needed to be in jail because he was just way too relaxed about it, So then, and I don't pretend to say that I know what you should do in your job, but I do know that when you had a case in your state and that I think it was in the same city that someone died and it was on camera again and the police shot him and it was no reason. He was, if that happened in your city, then it seems like if it happens again, you would do things a little differently. So why did it take so long to put him in jail? I just didn't get that part. Then I believe the other officers are still free, which I still don't get that part. And the other officers contributed. You sat on him and wouldn't allow that man to get up to help himself. So you are just as guilty. You're guilty. Maybe not just as, but you're guilty. Probably just as guilty. But so I completely understand the protesting. I understand the frustration, but I don't condone looting and rioting because I don't want anyone to get hurt. But I understand the protesting. Now, it's one thing to protest. It's, and I think it's probably necessary to protest because we're not being heard. But we're in the middle of a pandemic. And so protesting means that you're standing way too close to people. The groups are way too large. So unfortunately, I have already, I'm already pretty much, because I have to in doses give myself things. I have pretty much resolved the fact that I probably will not have a summer. And I just have to be okay with that because I do want to have many summers after this. So therefore, I'll give up this one for coronavirus because I'll get to have a lot more summers later. But it's just, it blows my mind that in 2020, we are still having the same conversation that my grandmother, who's no longer here, was having in 1960 and whatever. My mother was there in Detroit in the 67 riots. Why are we still having this conversation? I just don't understand. I don't understand. No matter how much education we get, no matter how much we try to prove to whomever it is we have to prove it to prove to them that we are actually equal and not less than, we just have to keep having the same conversation. And then, today's Monday. So it's Monday. So a lot of people went back to work today. And the number of corporations that I've read about on Facebook or heard about that did not acknowledge anything that happened in the last week blows my mind. So I posted, and I haven't investigated them all, but I posted one of the main companies that I work with because, I work for myself. So my boss handled things. But the main companies I work with, Thinx, they immediately put out something. They said, text Floyd, and they had a phone number, and you can sign a petition to Color of Change. And then today we got an email. I did not get a chance to read the email yet. I've been busy today, but we did get an email today with a personal message. That's all I'm saying. Acknowledge the elephant in the room, because when you don't acknowledge the elephant in the room, I honestly am telling you, someone may call you a racist. When you say or do nothing, it is the equivalent of the person that said or did something. So you got to say, and you got to say something. And if you don't know what to say, I'm going to put a link. There was 75 things that white people could say to learn to do. Let me help you. I think I saw another post that had another list of things that you could do. There are people that are trying to help you. I'm not sure that you should call me and ask me, but there are people trying to help you. And I only say that because if you read the long post that I posted, the way that I grew up amongst my white brothers and sisters, and I educated on a daily turn basis, basically, for a long time. This is only, I think it's 17 years I've lived in Chicago now. So this is only the first time that I've lived in the city, and I don't have to explain things. But I did a lot of explaining from kindergarten all the way through college. So I just don't feel like explaining anymore. Like I said, I don't understand why we're still having to explain and have the same conversation in 2020. I just don't get it. Now, if you happen to have watched The Occupant, he just had a press conference. And honest to God, I am nervous. I'm nervous Nelly. And I said to somebody last night, I said to somebody else today, if it were not for my faith in God, I think I'd probably be shaking in a chair smoking cigarettes. No, I don't smoke. But I'd be smoking cigarettes and rocking in a chair because I'd be crazy. Because I'm telling you, what is going on is just not normal. And that man, what he said just now makes me think that there is about to be a war. And guess who's going to get killed? Once again, I just don't think he thinks before he speaks. I just don't think he does. And honestly, I'm going to say this. If he does think before he speaks, then I was right in the first place. That man is not for us. He's not for us. If he does legitimately think before he speaks, he is not for us. Because you and I both know if they send the military, who gonna get hurt? I'm gonna give you two choices, and the first two don't count. So it's just, I just don't think that he thinks about these things, and I don't think that you should call out a war like that, because it really sounds like that's what he's doing. And we're supposed to be your constituents. You cannot send the military to come kill us. So I just don't know. I pray. I am in Chicago, in case you didn't know. I pray that the looting has completely stopped in all parts of the city. And I did hear today a protest passing my house, and it seemed peaceful. I stay away from windows because what I am not is a fool. So I couldn't tell you. I didn't see them, but it sounded peaceful. They chanted and it quieted down. So clearly, I guess they passed. But I can't believe that in 2020, we have to have the same conversation. Black lives actually matter. And if you come with me with that, all lives matter. Until Black Lives Matter, all lives don't matter because you're leaving out a main sector here. So Black Lives Matter, and we are equal. And I read something else. Somebody said, don't forget you guys were slaves and you could be right back there again. People who think like that and then publicly post stuff like that, I worry for you, because there's some people that are not rational-minded people like myself, but there's other people I would hate for something to happen to you. But when you say stuff like that, I think you're asking for trouble. And I don't understand why you would go and ask for trouble. If that's what you think, keep that at your kitchen table. As Auntie Wendy says, kitchen table talk. If that's the conversation y'all want to have it at your kitchen table. Don't post it on social media with the picture of you and your children. That just isn't wise. So, I do not, like I said, I do not think that the looting is a good thing. I don't. I know a lot of small business owners here in Chicago that are hurting because of this looting, and I am feeling for them because they didn't ask for this. I mean, big box stores, they will be up and running probably in a few days. But the small businesses, come on, guys. Like one of my friends said that, he was supposed to cook all these meals for senior citizens, but his place was vandalized yesterday. So then he couldn't cook the meals. It was a lot of people too that he was going to feed. So it's just stuff like that. Let's come on, like I said, peaceful protest, but not. And then please be very mindful of all the trickery, because I've heard people paying people to show up and do things and stuff. There is no money worth the jail time that you're probably going to do, because everybody has a camera. And I know here in Chicago, they're not playing. These videos are going to get turned in and they're going to find you. And I hate to see what happens. So let's just be smart. And I've also seen a lot of other people claiming to be looting for us. No, you're not looting for us. You're looting for yourself. And don't put Black Lives Matter next to that, around that, or anywhere near that. That is for you. And you need to be prosecuted to whatever the extent of the law as well, because you shouldn't do that. So be very careful and be very, and if you see something, say something. If you see something, say something. I mean, if you're able to record safely and put yourself in harm's way, then do it, because I promise you, turn these people in. And, just because we need our community back. Like I said, big box stores, they can handle stuff like this. They have insurance policies for big, huge things like this. In our community, not so much, And then also, the next time something happens, and, next time you want to buy something, the insurance is even higher in the community. So other businesses can't get in the community. So we need to, let's just, if we're going to organize, let's organize and do something organized that makes sense. Like, let's support Black businesses. A lot of them are online. You can purchase digital or physical products online. Let's support Black businesses. Let's support these businesses that have went through this past weekend and need help. I'm sheltering in place, so I cannot come out to help you, but there's a lot of cleanup efforts. I know a lot of neighborhoods have already cleaned up already because they've been working on it since this morning. So God bless them. But I also heard they were still looting at like 3:00 this afternoon. So I do not want the whole country to go up in smoke. I don't. That would be a horrible thing. I do not want the city of Chicago to go up in smoke. That would be a horrible thing. But we really have to, the one thing we know we can do to make change is to vote. My mentor, Paul, was on this morning. I put the link, I put the video here, and you should be able to watch it. YouTubers, you can go to Paul Carrick Brunson, his YouTube channel. Periscope, you can go to Paul C. Brunson, his Periscope channel, and you can watch it. But he was talking about the one thing we need to do is to increase our economic stamp. If we increase our Black economic, the whole, wealth in our community, because, you know, money is power, then we can make a difference. And that is so true. And so by purchasing and working with and collaborating with our community, we can keep the dollar in our community and really be able to have a strong voice when it comes to certain things. And so I totally agree with that as well. Make sure that you get to the polls and you vote. And if you don't know who to vote for, then make sure that you're speaking to community organizations that can guide you to the right people to vote for. Because, you know, you have to vote for judges, and you have to, because look there's going to be a judge and jury that are going to have to decide the fate of this man that killed poor Mr. Floyd. So we want the right judge, right? So you got to vote for judges, and you have to vote for the Senate. You know, there's all the different positions you have to vote for. So please, let's vote. Let's use this as a fighting force to make us go vote. Okay, let's all vote, because the turnout, even for the primary for Illinois, I think what was it? It was right at the beginning of this, like in March, I think was the primary. It was a very low turnout. We don't want that again. Like, we need everyone to go vote. We need everyone to go and do the census, 2020census.gov. That is important. It is important. It is important. So I know we're all very frustrated and we're all very worried, but all I can say is all we can do is pray, and we can vote. And you might even throw up a few prayers for the occupant, because he has a big job that I'm not sure he knows how to. Did I say I'm not sure? We need to pray for the occupant, because we need to pray. Pray hard for him, because while he was in the bunker, clearly no revelation of, you know, anything popped into his head that was really wise. It just shows in what he just said. So pray for him too. Just throw him a few prayers, because he is in charge of the country, and this is the one we're in right now. For those that are not in the U.S., God bless you. But for us that are here, and we're stuck here because of a pandemic, we should probably, you know, just give him a few prayers, because he needs help. And I'm thinking God is just about the only person that can save us from this, because who would have ever thought that it would spread across the country as fast as it did? Who would have ever thought? I'm trying to think, what would Dr. King say or do? You know, what would he say or do? Because I'm just out of thoughts. Because even the occupant's wife said, we need a peaceful protest and whatever. But when Colin Kaepernick peacefully protested, the occupant called him an SOB. So I am just clueless on what we can do. But what I know that I will do is definitely I will pray, and I will see how I can support organizations that are trying to help businesses here in my neighborhood to come back. I think that there was a lot of stores that were closed today because of what happened. And I hope that they will be opening soon, because we're going to need groceries. Let's be honest, you know, we're going to need groceries. And if the grocery stores are closed for the next 60 blocks and 90 blocks, then, you know, that's a problem. So I'm prayerful. You stay prayerful. We had a really great Ask Dr. Renee show scheduled for tomorrow, but we are postponing that. And we are going to sit down and continue planning and figure out something to bring to you to hopefully give you some solutions, or to start the conversation, because I think there are, I know there are people who have no earthly clue what it means to speak to or understand or know anything about the Black experience, or what it's like to experience racism firsthand. And so perhaps I can shed some light to that, and that can help you to understand the feelings that everyone is feeling, that you don't know what to say or what to do. But maybe if you get a better understanding of how they're feeling and what they're feeling, and maybe then you can figure out what to say or do. And so perhaps I can bring a conversation towards that. And because this is a topic that I know way too much about. I have way too much experience with. And I always say I wouldn't change anything for the world because it made me the strong person that I am today. So I'm grateful for my parents for, for us living where we lived and for us, going to the schools we went to. It's just that some of you all made it really hard. Okay. Look, I'm gonna call folks out. I have teachers that are right here on Facebook that I friended because I'm friendly Fran, but you made it hard for me. And I didn't know why. I didn't understand. I was too young to understand, but you made it very difficult. But then there was also amazing teachers that understood what was going on and why, why I acted the way I acted or why things had to be the way they were. But like I said, we're going to go. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that whatever it is that you have to do to kind of be okay, you are doing it. It's okay not to be okay. It is perfectly fine. If you just needed to take today off and put pause on today, that's fine too. But just make sure that, you don't come out of this too angry. I know we're very upset, but let's just, let's try not to be too angry because that's just not going to be good for our health. I am a doctor at the end of the day, right? So we want to make sure that we're calm, cool, and collected, and we just, whatever anger we have, we figure out a different way to channel it. So that we do get past this. I don't know what the next step will be. Like I said, I'm nervous, Nellie, because first of all, there was a meeting today and our governor and the occupant clearly butted heads. So that makes me nervous for the state, even though I trust the governor impeccably and I agree with him wholeheartedly. And I trust the mayor 100%. She's doing a fabulous job. But I am like, oh no, what does that mean? So and then one last thing, I heard that Michigan was removing the stay-at-home order June 8th. Please be very careful. Please be very careful. Wear your masks, wash your hands, be very careful because I'm just really nervous about the excitement you all have around that and what your numbers are going to look like and what they look like now because you guys had some protests this weekend too. So that's it and that's all. Have a great evening and I